I was so excited about our first paid in full client. We got $10,000 in one day. And I was like, score, we're doing this. Part 58 of sharing my story on here because it's so much easier than writing another book. So most of our clients at this point were on either $1,000 or $2,000 a month payment plans. And so getting a $10,000 payment was like, yeah, paid in full. And he had ran it through my PayPal account because all of the banking was in my name. And so he used my link to do the payment. When she showed up to the first mastermind call, she was completely blown away because she was a hardcore, evangelical Christian, and I am not. And so she was really surprised that it didn't seem like what it was. And I wasn't on the sales call, so I don't know how he represented it. It does not seem like he would have, but he clearly did not express to her, and as she is very Jesus-y, very godlike in her language, why didn't he say something to her that you might be aware that this is like a secular group, you're accepted being a Christian, but I am not a Christian. And so I've worked with people of all different faiths, and I quite love that. I love talking about religion. I love talking about faith, but I am not. And so that was a really weird situation. And after the meeting, I got on a call with her because you could tell she was unhappy. I got on a call and I explained that to her. I'm like, I've worked with lots of people. I used to be a Christian myself. I'm not going to try to deconvert you. Really, we're just here to help you build your business and scale your business and work through whatever emotional things that you have within you and your relationship. And that was the other thing, is she was more focused on business than it was relationships. So she didn't really even fit the niche right. Well, she just wanted a refund. The challenge was we had spent the money immediately because we were behind on all the bills, all of everything. And I really wanted to give her a refund. That's correct. She deserves a refund, but we didn't have the money. And so I was like, it's okay. We will just get another sale and we'll give her the money back. It's not that big of a deal. But this makes Reed really wig out. And so now I've got this $10,000 refund and we need to get more sales. And he just starts losing it. He starts crumbling. It was the abortions were the problem, and that he needed to do this inner work to heal from the 2 abortions. And so he spent a couple weeks and did that. And then this next thing was the problem. Then this next thing was a problem. And there was always a problem, and he was not making any more sales. So I'm trying to keep all these balls in the air. Now, keep in mind, I'm also taking care of the kids because we're both around the house, and he is just kind of absent-minded and not connected. And I'm realizing, wow, he's just not emotionally in touch. And I've got so much on my plate. I'm just struggling to keep my head above water. And yet, had we not been relationship coaching, I don't know that I would have seen where, oh, he's dropping balls all over the place. And I get to the point where I finally publish my book, but I did not have the money for an editor. And I had already worked with 4 other editors because I'd been working on it for some years. I finished my book and I didn't have the money for an editor. I didn't have the money for a cover. So we designed the cover itself, the whole thing. And I already knew, because I had done a massive amount of research about book publishing, that I was going to publish without an ISBN, that I was going to do all my own sales through my own funnel, and it wasn't going to be on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, none of that. I was just like, this shit is mine, and you can buy it directly from me because I want that email list and to know who's reading my book. And the publishing was actually really easy. It took me a number of years of studying and talking to publishers. I had turned down the big offer back in 2013, 14 for my book. And I was like, I'm doing this myself because it's mine and I want my words to come out the way I want my words to come out. And I just ended up publishing. I published it raw and unedited. In fact, that's what it says, raw and unedited. So we published and the sales started happening like really fast. Like they were going and it was super cool. Like I'm signing books and shipping them out. And he had also written the foreword on my book. And that is the only thing that didn't make it into the second edition. And we'll get to that soon. But I published, it's selling, like everything's going. We've got a ton of activity online and yet there are no sales. And I'm like, how is this even possible? Like we were getting sales when we just started. Now we're in, we have tons of momentum, tons of attention, and there's no sales. No one wants to like better their life. Like how is this working? And in a fit of my anger, I gave him an ultimatum, and I had never given him an ultimatum. I'm not that kind of person. Going through the process of finishing my book was so intensely emotional. Not only did I have to go through and like re-experience all that I had went through with leaving the anti-trafficking movement, I had remembered that there was a friend that I had. He was a survivor that I worked with for a number of years. And I didn't just work with him as a support person. He was also my dear friend. We shared the stage quite a few times. Like I shared his story. He shared my story. We were friends and we really worked together. Now, when we left California, we were like being exiled from the church. And he was experiencing the same thing. And I was like, Alex, just come with us because they clearly don't want you there because you're gay. And that's the problem with the church. So like, come do anti-trafficking stuff down in LA with us. And he was like, no, no, no. He had a job with Multnomah County, I believe. It's in my book. And he actually has an entire chapter in my book because in one of our last conversations that we had, he had said, when I was shutting down the nonprofit, we had this final conversation and he was like, wherever you go, I want you to share my story. And when I was getting ready to publish, I was like, did he really say that? Or am I just like remembering things incorrectly? And I ended up going through all of our old emails and there was an email there where he was like, wherever you go, whatever you do, share my story. And it's because I was also sharing artwork through the nonprofit. And he's like, I don't care about the nonprofit. You just share my story wherever. And I was like, oh, okay. And that's like freaking amazing that he trusted me like that. And he let me keep the pieces of artwork that I was sharing as a part of his story. Like, I love him so much. And he was such a bold activist. Well, it was about 3 months after that conversation, I found out via social media that he had unalived himself. And that was not right to me because not only was he vegan, his dogs were vegan. He took extraordinarily good care of himself. He had been clean and out for over 20 years. Like, he was really, really solid. It was crazy to me that he would relapse and then unalive himself. Like, that did not make any sense at all. And I do not have the answers still, but I do not believe that that is what happened to him because his very last post on social media was about religious abuse. And I do know that the organizations that we were working with, which was Door to Grace and Mending the Soul out of Oregon and Arizona, that they were really condemning him and threatening to take away his funding if he did not become ungay. That was a challenge I had had with those organizations and the original church that we were at, Good Shepherd in Boring, Oregon, was they were so exploitive of people, but then they lacked so little understanding of what it actually meant to be a survivor. And over years, we had told them, this is not how it works. It needs to be done differently. And they did not listen, not just to him and I, but to other survivors as well. And so finishing writing my book and publishing was not easy.